Chris Holmes, welcome to My Planet Rocks.
Rock on, Planet Rock, yeah.
It's wonderful to have you on Planet Rock because we've heard so much of your music over the years, and so many Planet Rock listeners will know you as a founding member of Wasp, and many of them will have grown up with you and your music, and you're heading back to the UK in June with your own outfit to celebrate. Am I okay to say to celebrate your 65th birthday?
Yeah.
Good, because I'm going to say happy almost birthday.
It's nice, 60, because I always like 65. Cool, I can retire. You know, I can get my retirement. They just moved the age in America to 67. Yeah.
Just for you.
No. It's just the way it is. You know, it's who cares? I think it's kind of funny. This 2022 was the hardest year of my life by far I've ever had. Because I was diagnosed with cancer at the end of 2021, and then I just went through all this stuff. Last week, my taste buds kind of just came back, and it's kind of good.
Oh, that's wonderful, because that was kind of why I wanted to say happy almost birthday, because no one can put themselves in your shoes, but you must be, you know, so relieved to be able to be in a position where you can say, I'm going to go out on tour and get back on stage.
Yeah, well, I went last November, I think it was. July, September, October, November. November, I went to Canada and played. I didn't play a full show. It's just that I was going to play one year and it got canceled. COVID again, and then we were going to do it, and I got the cancer and do it. And my wife says, Chris, we have to go over just to show that we weren't lying to all these people. So we went over for like 2 weeks, and I only played like 4 songs, and they showed my documentary, and I answered questions for everybody. I wanted to ask questions, and I played 4 songs. It was good.
And how are you feeling now? Like you said, you're feeling good this year. 2023 is feeling good so far.
Yeah, I'm about 95% physically good. I used to weigh about 250 pounds, which is a little bit overweight for somebody my size. I'm 6'6", and now I'm down to about 200 now because last year I couldn't eat at all over a duration of time. But my taste is coming back. At the end of next month, I play on the Monster Cruise in America. And I was booked on that last year with Alice Cooper, but I had to cancel because had the cancer came up. But then I'm going to do it this year. I've been practicing singing in my studio where I live, but I don't. When I play, I won't get to rehearse with my band because they don't live here in France. They live in England, where you're at.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And I told them last time I saw them, I go, guys, guess what? The next time we're going to be playing notes together was not in the studio. It's going to be on the boat in front of people, and they're going to be like this. Impress me. And that's just, if, you know, I have totally faith in you guys to do just fine. We'll do good.
Yeah, you will. Yeah. Let's pick a track. One of you've given me some fantastic tracks, to play. I'm going to just pick the top one. I'm going to go with The Who and Baba O'Reilly. Tell us why you've picked this one.
It's just The Who, man. Townsend wrote some incredibly good killer songs. Daltrey, wow, what a voice. Ant Whistle, Moon, it's just, you know, and they're still going.
That was The Who and Baba O'Reilly, as chosen by my guest tonight on My Planet Rocks. It's Chris Holmes. You just mentioned before, obviously, that you've got your tour beginning over here in June. What's so special about a British audience for you, Chris? Is there anything particularly special that we have here that they don't have anywhere else?
Well, when Wasp's early days, we really didn't leave LA and play any place. We left and went to England. That was really the first part of the tour that we did. Wasp way bigger or when I was in it or whatever, was way bigger in England than it is in the States by far.
What was it like for you? I mean, I'm going to go back to what, you know, sort of slightly earlier in your life in a minute. But how did it feel when Wasp really first started happening? I mean, you know, could you spend a lot of time as a kid dreaming about being a musician, and then you put all those hours in, and then you play all those gigs, and then it actually starts happening. Can you remember how it felt, when you first started really getting some traction?
Even still today, a lot of people, my friends, go, "Wow, but you made it." But tell you the truth, I honestly never made it.
What makes you say that?
Because I didn't get what I did music for, in a way. I dreamed, when I was a kid, of having a gold record. I used to go see Johnny Winter. I seen Humble Pie. This is in the 70s. I had dreams of my biggest dream was to have a gold record. It was that was in my head when I was a kid. Wow, what if I have a gold record? I made it. But when I got the gold record, it wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, to me, I was like, wow, big, who cares? I stopped getting them when I was out of Wasp, but I think I ended up with 17 or 16 of them. I don't even know where they're at now. I think they're in Wyoming at my mom's house. I knew we had the songs, and when we recorded the album, I was really unhappy with it, because I like the really heavy guitar sound from Black Sabbath. I love the guitar playing of Johnny Winter, the lead playing, and the rock and roll part. I love the sound of Black Sabbath. I love the energy of the Who. I grew up with Van Halen before they were in clubs, playing backyard parties, to where they were today. But I saw how they worked, and Wasp wasn't the same way. Was not the same way. So you get to a point where you just don't care about it.
You mentioned Johnny Winter a couple of times when you were talking about when you were younger and how you were inspired, and you've picked some Johnny Winter on your list. Tell us why this one.
It's because the song rocks. This is one of my favorite Johnny Winter songs. I was seeing him in his older years, about 10 years ago, 15, and he sat down and played. I think he had a cold at the House of Blues, and I can remember my friend's wife came up to me. She goes, "God, he's so old." I go, "It doesn't matter. He's still playing," and he played blues. It's like going to see Robin Trower now, but when he stood up and rocked back in the 70s, he was good. When Johnny Winter stood up and played his guitar, he rocked. He was just phenomenal, man. He's phenomenal.
Chosen by my guest tonight on My Planet Rocks is Chris Holmes, and I don't think I really need to tell you what that track was, but I think it's safe to say it had a fairly strong influence on a young Chris Holmes. Chris, can you remember when you first picked up a guitar? I mean, were there ones kind of hanging around the house, or did you have to go find one?
I had my grandmother buy me a Crown guitar when I was 14, and my sister had a flamenco guitar before that, a catgut string guitar, and I bought some, put some super slinky electric strings on there, bent the neck, but it was easier to play. I think it ruined that. And then a guy down the street has sold me a Fender Jazzmaster. That's when I started kind of playing. Just, I had two strings on, the two middle strings, the G and the D string. I had two notes, and I'd play Smoke on the Water on the strings, and just go from there.
Let's take another of your track choices. We've talked about the Stones already, but you've chosen the Stones and Give Me Shelter. Why this one? Why this track?
I just think it's one of the best songs that the Stones ever wrote, and I love that lady's voice, right after the solo. Mary
Clayton.
Oh man. I just like her voice in there. Just the way they wrote the song I just love the song. I love the way they wrote it.
Let's Give Me Shelter from the Rolling Stones, as chosen by my guest, Chris Holmes, on My Planet Rocks tonight. So you said a little bit earlier on, you didn't find it massively easy when you first started playing the guitar. When did it get easier? How easy was it to kind of find like minds and to get into bands? Did you really have to search for people, or did it come easily?
There was a lot of musicians that I went to school with, a few musicians that I went to school with. There was one guy, Jimmy Steinwaddell. He was a guitar player, and I went over to his house to ask him to teach me some stuff. He wasn't rude to me. He was like, "Kid, come back when you learn how to play. I'll show you," and kind of pushed me away. And then I was playing a gig a few years later, and he came backstage, and he goes, man, I didn't know you were that far advanced on what you were doing. I go, yeah. And he goes, here's my number. And he's one of my best friends even today. He's helped me through a lot of stuff. He knew Van Halen too, growing up.
I'm just looking down your list of tracks here, and one that I really want to play is Montrose and Rock the Nation. Tell me why this one.
Because the guitar sound, just the guitar, it's the guitar tone, the sound. You don't get that much energy on coming out of the sound, and that was recorded in 72 or 73, I think. I'm not exactly sure. I think 72, but that was a monster guitar sound Ronnie Macho's had.
As chosen by my guest, Chris Holmes, on My Planet Rocks tonight. Chris, you moved away from Wasp in 2001, sort of for the last time. I mean, obviously, none of it was a particularly easy time for you, but where you are now musically, you must have worked so hard to get there. I mean, that's been sort of the best part of 20 years that you've been doing your own stuff. How does it feel to now have your own kind of back catalogue and your own stuff?
I would have loved to still be in the Wasp thing, but you can't. Blackie and I do not see eye to eye. Yeah, it's been a hard road, I ran into Filthy Animal Taylor. We started writing songs together, and he's, I go, oh, blah, 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 and he goes, here's some money, Chris, for the gas, and he helped support me for a while while we did the album together. And I asked him once, why are you doing this, Phil? And he goes, I've made enough money in my life, and he goes, I don't mind sharing it around with the friend people I like. And he was a human being, a really cool one.
Let's take another of your tracks. Chris, you picked one of, I've sort of, after having spoken to you for the past however long we've been chatting for, you've picked Neil Young's Rockin' in the Free World. Tell me why you picked this one.
Because Neil Young's one of my favorite artists, and I like the song because he plays it different every time he plays it. He even sings different lyrics. It's for what it says, keep rocking in the free world.
That's Neil Young and Rockin' in the Free World. And Chris Holmes is my guest on My Planet Rocks tonight. So, Chris, it's been wonderful to chat to you and to go through some of your musical choices. And it's been even better to find out that your health is going in the right direction as well. And, we're all thrilled that you're coming back to the UK. Tell me, your outfit, your musical outfit now. You said that the band are in England and obviously you're in France, and you're going to get together for the first time for which cruise is it that you're doing in May?
The Monster Cruise goes out of Orlando, I think, or it's someplace in Florida. Cape Canaveral. It goes out of Cape Canaveral.
So that's your focus for now. In terms of new music, Chris, are you working on anything new?
I got tons of it right here in my head, but I haven't been able to put it down on you'd say tape, the computer, blah, blah, blah. I haven't been able to put it all together on the computer. I got 1,000 ideas that I've been wanting to put down, but since I don't have my computer going, I can't do it.
So you have the Monsters Cruise in May. You're here in June. Are you feeling ready? Are you feeling ready to get going again?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'll know after the first show if I am ready. I won't be able to tell because I'm not going to rehearse before the show. We're just going to go up and do it, just wing it. That's what rock and roll's about.
Do you know what? That is exactly what rock and roll is about. I'm going to take one last track of yours to play out with. You picked some Queen and you picked Brighton Rock. Tell us why Queen and why Brighton Rock?
Because the guitar sound. And it's one of the first Queen songs I ever heard. That song got me into Queen when I was a kid.
Was that kind of a lifelong fandom of Queen? Are you like a huge Brian May fan?
No, totally. He's one of my top 5 guitar players.
That was the final choice of guitarist Chris Holmes, founding member of Wasp. You just heard Queen on My Planet Rocks tonight. On the way next, it's Nights with Alice Cooper.